Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Uh-oh, Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
So I got to know where you were when you first saw it, and what are your thoughts?
Right. So the thing is, I'm going to be honest. I haven't seen the whole thing. Yeah. At first, when I first saw the first part of it, I seen him slap Chris Rock, and I thought it was maybe a joke because it looked like a studio slap. You know, where you hit your chest and you do the body action, so it looks like a slap, so it didn't connect. And a little later on, I saw the whole thing where it's like, keep my wife's name out your mouth. Yeah. And I was shocked. I was thinking, like, to me, I mean, the comedian lady just said a minute ago that he went off book. But for me personally, he could not have been the first comedian to go off book during hosting a show. Yet no one has ever slapped anyone before. Do you know what I'm saying to you? Kanye's done his little madnesses, but even Kanye West hasn't ever put his hands on anybody. Do you know what I mean? I was speaking to Jason earlier and he was saying it was an all-black event where it was organized from top to bottom. So to me, like, he had a responsibility to not only himself, but his fans. I spoke to my son today. I said, "So what, have you heard about this Will Smith thing?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "What are your thoughts?" He's like, "I don't want to say." I'm like, "No, what are your thoughts?" He's 11. He goes, "I don't want to say." And I goes, "I insist, tell me what your thoughts are anyway." He said, you know what it is? Like, I wish you didn't slap him here because a lot of white people think that black people are rough.
But to this man, he's history.
And now they're going to really think that that's the case. And it occurred to me that some people aren't role models in it.
I am not a role model. I'm not paid to be a role model.
Some people say, I'm not a role model. You got hip hop artists that we all listen to that aren't role models. Will Smith is a role model. So I don't know what his game was in doing that. And at the time when that joke, we call it a joke, was delivered, something else about comedians and jokes here. I've been to comedy shows. I've seen people that are blind get pulled up on being blind, deaf being pulled up in being deaf, black being pulled up in being black, Chinese for being Chinese, India for being Indian. The man said, G.I. Jane. He didn't say that you've got alopecia. He didn't say that your hair's falling out or you got a patchy head. He just said G.I. Jane. Yeah. That's no reason, yeah, to go and slap him. So as far as I'm concerned, what must have happened was he's allowed his wife to wear his balls around her neck from the time when, yeah, and this is real talk now, yeah, because it's called real talk, yeah. Everyone can do whatever they want to do. If you want to have an open relationship and sleep with other people, if it works for you, that's fine, innit? I think, personally, some people might disagree with me. I ain't doing that, but that's up to people if they're grown and they do what they're doing. But I would think that in any grown relationship where two people are going to have an open relationship and sleep with other people, because we've heard that Will Smith slept with J-Lo and he slept with this one and that one and she's done the same and they've done all that. I understand all that. But I think the caveat would be you don't sleep with your children's friends. Never, under any circumstances. Jada Pinkett did that, then brought the man to the red table and made him bar like living eye water, like he was the one that violated her when she violated him. So the next thing we're going to see now, she ain't really saying nothing. I looked at a Variety magazine today. You know what the woman said? She spoke out on it today and she goes, "It's a time for healing and I'm here for it." Imagine, yeah, the man come with the energy because you was vexed and boxed the man in his face because you were vexed, yeah, and your response, you didn't come with the same energy. You're saying it's a time for healing and I'm here for it. Where's your, how are you supporting your man with that? And at the point in time when the joke was delivered, Will had the right reaction, which was to laugh. It's not until he looked to the left, saw his wife was vexed, yeah, and then felt the need to march up and box the man in his face. So really and truly, there's no excuse for behavior. We can't pretend it's acceptable. It's poor behavior. He's a grown-ass man, yeah. Wait until afterwards when there's no cameras around and you pull him to the side and say, "Bro, just don't disrespect me or my wife again like that. Otherwise, it's going to be a problem." I almost walked up and boxed you on stage today, but I thought, let me not do that. But next time, I won't be so. You know what I mean? But he didn't do that.
Twice. Yeah. So I mean, so did the punishment fit the crime? He had to leave the academy. Tony, what are your thoughts? Hey, Tony.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Oh,
Tony.
we got some
big
more
up to
Brits.
everybody in the United States, everyone in the UK. Great subject. Been very emotional talking about this over the last week. It's very touching because it affects the community in such a big way. My feelings is an action that was totally overreacted to what happened on the night. You know, a gentleman literally destroyed his own celebration with one foul swoop. Not only that, but he destroyed the opportunity for people to celebrate the wonderful work of Mr. Richard Williams, because he was being celebrated, and also Samuel Jackson, Steph Curry, Shaquille O'Neal, and most importantly, Will Packer, who was tasked with creating this event. I don't know if you guys are aware, but Beyonce performed at that event.
Mad, no, no
when
idea.
when you don't hear about these things because some clown went on the stage and decided to act up like a fool.
Like a fool.
That's why homie don't play that.
You gotta say, well, hang on a second. We should have been celebrating the fact that this man did this, Mr. Will Packer did this wonderful event. But instead, our attention has turned to this craziness. And it makes me ashamed.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, do you think, so I'm gathering from that, you don't believe Will was on code?
Will was definitely not on code. And more so, the people who are saying that Chris Rock was not on code on that night for saying a joke against a black woman don't understand comedy. That just baffles the hell out of me. How people can turn around and say that he was out of order for saying the joke he said.
It's dumb.
He didn't write the jokes, but even if he did write the joke, it wasn't the type of joke which was disparaging of the woman. He didn't insult her. He didn't mention her hair. He didn't say something which could be attributed to the fact that she carries a bald head and has done for several years. Don't forget, her alopecia didn't happen last night. It was since 2018, and she's worn a short cut for many years prior to that.
Okay.
Right.
Everything that he said was true.
Right. So
yeah,
yeah, but it's an extremely poor taste if he knew she had alopecia. It's an innocent joke.
Let me ask you a question, Mike.
Reacted if he doesn't know.
Let me ask you a question, Mike, because I did say this before. It could be that it's in poor taste, but what about when a black person goes to a comedy show and they get called out for being black?
Rules out, he's a nigger! He's a nigger! He's a nigger!
Oh my God.
A nigger, Lucas, a nigger!
Or a blind person gets called out for being blind. When you go to these shows and you sit in the front, not to say there was at a comedy show, it's par for the cause. Do you know what I mean?
Will overreacted. Yeah.
That was not about her alopecia. I think if anything, to me, it almost felt like it felt weird anyway. But the obvious joke was what she done with August Alsina. That was if you're gonna tear her down, that's what you're gonna do. He didn't want to tear her down, did he? He clearly didn't want to tear her down. So he kind of sidestepped. Do you get me? What if what was written on the paper was something more in line with that? And he decided to go another way. He really didn't deserve it. And even when I looked at her reaction, she was vexed. She was vexed, like she rolled her eyes, but she wasn't vexed, get up and smack the man in his face, vexed. I personally believe that because it really comes down to, for me, because he allowed her to do what she did with the young man, right? And he never really addressed it properly. And it was a meme the next day. He's still carrying those feelings. And he's taken those feelings that everyone else has done to him, who have really tore into him for what happened. Yeah, never talks about her alopecia, but talks about the fact that your wife violated you, and he took it out on Chris Rock. That's what he did. He shouldn't have done it. He should have been the man about it and not took it out on my man. You get me? If he'd addressed his wifey when she did what she did, if he'd addressed her at the time and said, you know what, love, you were wrong for doing that. Do you get me? But he never did. He cried. when she's telling him, you made me feel like, you know, I felt unappreciated, whatever she said, yeah, he started crying before he said no, love. Like, you still, doesn't matter because there's rule to this thing and you can't be doing that. So he overstepped the mark, really. He really did, if it's real, because it still looks weird. And we got so much stuff going on in the world with all these other things that are happening. You don't even know what's real and what's fake anymore. But, you know, for all intents and purposes, we're assuming that it's real. Do you know what I mean? But he could have, he's an actor as well, isn't he? So he can, you know, he could have done better than that. He could have held it and, you know what I mean? He could have went to the toilet and then breathed and came back and sat down, but he chose.
I mean, Manny, the thing that I would say that kills it is you didn't need to strike the man. He could have sat in his seat and shouted, keep my wife's name out your effing mouth. And you know what? All you would have would be a soundbite. And you wouldn't be able to go around and turn around and say, you did too much.
Yes,
but by going up to the stage and striking the man in the face, it clearly showed a complete disregard for the people around him, which are his peers, black people, white people, any number of connotation of people. He just showed them complete contempt by saying, you know what, I'm going up. I don't care what security you've got. I don't care what rules you got. I'm circumventing the whole show to go and smack a man in his face. Yeah.
Do you think Chris was on code? How he reacted?
Chris did well. To be fair, Chris didn't do nothing wrong.
That as the MVP.
Yeah, he didn't do
the
nothing
most
wrong.
valuable player because he showed complete tact and
composure
restraint.
And composure.
Because everybody else who's a comedian, if you listen to their response, which are all public now, you know, listen to any of them, they'll all tell you they would have smacked him back. So good job, Chris Rock. Well done for holding yourself back.
Okay,
not even in that small moment, but even for minutes and moments after, because remember, there was an award generated and he was right there at the spot where the award was given to Questlove, another black man of great excellence, whose party was now spoiled because some idiot decided he want to grandstand the stage and slap a man for no good reason.
Black, black, black. Black on black, black.